for the Star-Spangled Banner. Please be seated. Good morning, board members, administration, faculty, family, friends, and the class of 2025. Welcome to the 2025 commencement ceremony. This morning, we gather to celebrate the achievement of 12 seniors who in just a few hours will become the newest alumni of the Kew-Forest School. Last December, my nephew and niece both received holiday presents from family members. To my 7-year-old nephew, Jordan, the motorized New York City subway train set he got from my father took home the gold. To my 5-year-old niece, Sophie, the pink wooden kitchen set from my sister was #1. I watched as my nephew lay on the floor for hours as he watched the trains go round and round with a look of amazement. I watched my niece tinker in the kitchen to make me something to eat, which was literally the same thing every single time, spaghetti and meatballs. And for the record, I now get nauseous every time I see that dish on any menu in any restaurant, even though I was served it 1,000 times imaginarily. Within days, Jordan wasn't running trains along the tracks. He was elevating tracks using Jenga blocks, building platforms, and creating tunnels with his magnetiles, and designing entire transportation systems. Sophie was no longer a single menu item establishment. She was competing with the likes of Daniel Boulud, Julia Child, and Rachel Ray. She was concocting imaginative recipes and serving elaborate meals to our whole family, some of which I would say were pretty creative. As I observed my nephews and nieces' admiration for these toys, I was transported back to the day that my sister and I got the Fisher-Price chalkboard from my grandparents for the holidays. That chalkboard monopolized much of the playtime my sister and I had in our childhood basement. As kids, we would play school together. Most of the time, my sister, being the older one, would take on the role of the teacher, and she would force me to be the student with the rest of our Cabbage Patch dolls. Nevertheless, that chalkboard sparked something in me, a love of teaching that eventually led me to where I stand today. I now invite each of you, graduates, families, faculty, members of the board, to think back for a moment. What was that special toy, that particular interest that captured your imagination as a child? Maybe it was a set of building blocks, a chemistry set, a journal, or a musical instrument. Whatever it was, chances are it revealed something about who you were meant to become. Class of 2025, as you sit here today, you might feel worlds away from the child you once were. So imagine how I and many others in this gym feel. The simple joy of toy trains and pretend kitchens have long been replaced by complex equations, literary analysis, labs, research papers, and Socratic seminars. Your dreams have evolved from childhood fantasies to concrete plans for college and careers. But what I want to suggest is that the essence of who you were as children, The pure enthusiasm, the natural curiosity, that fearless creativity remains vital to who you are becoming. Think about it. A student who loved using her stethoscope on animals, stuffed animals, may be heading to study nursing. The student who had the wooden easel and paint set might be attending an art school. The student who loved taking apart computers may be heading off to study computer science. The student who was on student government since they were 11 might be heading off to study political science. The student who had the toy cash register may be studying business. The truth is, our earliest passions often contain clues to our future calling, not always in obvious ways. My toy chalkboard didn't literally make me a teacher, but it did reveal things that brought me to education, sharing knowledge, helping others, and being a part of someone's growth or journey. Today, as you prepare to start your next chapter, I encourage you to remember the wide-eyed child who could turn a simple toy into a world of possibilities. While you may have gained knowledge, skills, maturity during your time at Kew-Forest, the most powerful tool you possess is still that fundamental capacity for wonder and imagination. In years ahead, you'll face challenges far more complex than building train platforms or running pretend restaurants. You'll likely encounter problems that don't have simple solutions or questions that don't have clear answers. But if you can approach these challenges with even a fraction of the creativity and enthusiasm that you once brought to your childhood play, you will find your way. Remember, the most innovative solutions, the most meaningful discoveries, the most impactful contributions often come from people who maintain their capacity to wonder, to imagine, and to ask, what if? Just as my nephew didn't see a simple train set, but envisioned an entire transportation system, and my niece didn't see a simple kitchen, but instead an entire restaurant establishment, I hope you'll look at the world not just for what it is, but for what it will become. Class of 2025, I hope you never completely outgrow the child who can see the infinite possibilities in simple things, because that child, the curious, creative, enthusiastic individual, might just hold the key to who you're meant to become. So congratulations, class of 2025. I can't wait to see what your future holds. And now I'd like to introduce our head of school, Miss Tiffany D. Trotter.
Thank you, Ms. Vessio. Good morning, board members, administration, faculty, families, friends, distinguished guests, and most importantly, our remarkable class of 2025. Today, we are gathered here to celebrate a rite of passage for these young people behind me, a celebration of all they've accomplished in the first 18 or so years of their lives, and an opportunity to bid farewell to this chapter as they begin a new one. You know, I've been thinking about this speech since March. Now, I'm not Ms. Vessio, whose speech was done before spring break. No, I began thinking about this speech when, during a 3-day intensive workshop through an affiliate of the International Baccalaureate Organization, I had occasion to come across a quote that I'd like you all to remember. If your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you are a leader. Those words were spoken by John Quincy Adams, our 6th president, and they connect beautifully with something poet Maya Angelou once observed. People will forget what you said. People will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. Together, these ideas speak to something I've witnessed in each of you during your time here at Kew-Forest, that true leadership isn't about grand gestures or memorable speeches, but about the feeling you leave with others when you choose to inspire them. Now, when most people hear the word leader, they often think about the obvious examples: the student council president, the team captain, the lead in the school play. But leadership is not about titles or positions. It's about the quiet moments when you choose to act in ways that lift others up. It's about the ripple effects of your choices, often ones that you may never even see. Let me tell you about leadership as I've witnessed it from this class. I've seen it when you, our oldest students, spend time working with our youngest students in the lower school, building connections and becoming the role models that they look up to. I've seen it when you create study groups and welcome everyone, not just your closest friends. I've seen it in the way you've cheered for teammates who scored a goal when you worked on the sets for the productions that you weren't even in, and when you celebrated each other's college acceptances as genuinely as if they were your own. These moments, these seemingly small acts, are leadership in its purest form. You may not have realized it at the time, but in those moments, you were inspiring others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more. More importantly, you were making them feel valued, included, and capable. And Maya Angelou was right. Years from now, your classmates may not remember the exact words you said or the specific things you did, but they will absolutely remember how you made them feel in those moments. I was fortunate to experience once again this kind of leadership just last summer when I went to Panormos, a small seaside village in Crete, for an Argentine tango intensive. 60 dancers, most of them professionals and dance teachers who had been friends for years, traveled there to dance, in heels, mind you, for 5 hours a day, with additional practice hours after dinner. I went knowing not a single person but the instructors, and I was one of perhaps a handful of newcomers in this group. The first day was amazing. We were challenged right from the beginning, and I felt I had already learned so much by the day's end. That evening, I wandered the village and found great Greek food and then gelato for dessert. The next morning, food poisoning. Those of you who've experienced it know exactly what that means. I couldn't leave my apartment, much less consider 5 hours of dance class. By noon, I woke to a message in my WhatsApp from someone I'd met just the day before. "Tiffany, I hear you're sick. Can I bring you lunch?" The seminar leader reached out shortly thereafter. "Do you need medicine?" That evening, when I finally made it to observe class, person after person approached me. "You still don't look so well. Are you sure you should be out? Can I get you some water? Here, take my seat in the shade." That whole week was intentionally challenging for everyone, but through it all, people to whom I'd been a stranger just days before chose to resist the ease of hanging out with their friends they'd known for years. Instead, they offered support, a hug during difficult moments, shared treats during breaks, gentle encouragement when I was pushing too hard. None of those folks thought they were being leaders. They were just being kind. But their actions inspired me to push through the challenges and learn more than I thought was possible. Most importantly, they made me feel like I belonged, like I mattered to this community, even though I was a newcomer. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is simply notice when someone needs support and choose to offer it. Class of 2025, as you leave these halls and head off to college, you're going to encounter new communities, new challenges, and countless opportunities to choose how you want to show up in the world. You'll be the new kids again, in dorms, in classes, in clubs and organizations. And in those moments when you're settling in, you'll face a choice that's far more important than deciding your major or career path. I submit to you that that choice, that question is not, what do you want to be when you grow up? Be it a nurse, a teacher, an artist, or an engineer. The question is, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the person who notices when someone is struggling and offers help? Do you want to be the person who includes others rather than excludes them? Do you want to be the person who lifts others up? Do you want to be the person who makes others feel seen, valued, and important? Leadership isn't about having all of the answers or being the loudest voice in the room. It's about deciding who you are in your daily interactions. It's about paying attention to the people around you and asking yourself, how can I help? What can I offer? How can I make someone feel like they matter today? These are not questions about your major or your career. These are questions about your character. Sometimes the person you choose to be looks like the student who starts a pickup game that includes everyone and not just the skilled players. That's something we're very practiced at here at Kew-Forest. Sometimes it's the person who speaks up when they see someone being treated unfairly. Sometimes it's as simple as being the one who says, hey, let's make sure everyone gets home safely tonight. These are all choices about who you are, not what you do. And these choices about your character may seem small in the moment, but they create ripples. When you choose to be kind to someone, right, you inspire them to dream bigger. Maybe by sharing your own college application journey with a younger student, you've changed their trajectory. When you choose to be someone who helps others learn something new, whether it's calc or how to parallel park, you've given them the tools that they'll carry forward. When you choose to be the person who encourages someone to try something they're afraid of, you've expanded their sense of what's possible. And here's the beautiful thing about this kind of leadership. It creates more leaders. When someone experiences the impact of your encouragement, your inclusion, your willingness to help, when they feel valued and supported by you, they're more likely to pay it forward. They become the ones who invite others in, who offer help, who inspire others to dream, learn, do, and become more. They become the ones who understand that the lasting impact we have on others isn't through our accomplishments or awards, though we may have many, but through the feelings we create in their hearts. I've watched this happen countless times during your years here. You've learned not just from your teachers, but from one another. And you've grown not just academically, but as human beings who understand that success is sweeter when shared. As you transition to college and beyond, you'll discover that the most fulfilling experiences come not from your career, but from who you choose to be within that career. The best professors are remembered not just for their expertise, but for choosing to be the kind of people who inspired students to love learning. The most respected colleagues are valued not just for their skills, but for choosing to be the kind of people who help others develop their own. And the happiest people are those who've learned that their own joy is multiplied when they choose to be someone who helps create joy for others. So my challenge to you, class of 2025, is this. Go forth and choose who you want to be. Not because someone is giving you a title or asked you to, but because you understand that every interaction is an opportunity to decide your character. Choose to be someone who chooses to lead with the kind of curiosity that invites others to explore alongside you. Choose to be someone who leads with the kind of kindness that makes others feel seen and valued. Choose to be someone who leads with the kind of courage that gives others permission to be brave. Your diplomas here that you'll receive in a few moments represent years of hard work, growth, and achievement. But more than that, they represent your preparation to go out into the world and choose who you want to be and the impact you'll have on others. John Quincy Adams had it right. Leadership is not about commanding or controlling. It's about inspiring. And inspiration, as you've learned here at Kew-Forest, happens when you choose to be the kind of person whose actions help others. It happens when you decide that who you are matters more than what you achieve. Class of 2025, you are more than ready for this. You've been practicing this choice, the choice of who to be, for years, even when you didn't realize it. Now, go forth and continue to choose wisely. Choose to be the kind of people who inspire. The world doesn't just need more nurses, teachers, engineers, and artists. The world needs more people who choose to be kind, inclusive, encouraging, and brave, whatever their profession may be. Congratulations. I look forward to seeing the kinds of leaders you'll become and the lives you'll touch along the way.
Thank you, Ms. Trotter. It's my pleasure to now introduce our first senior speaker, Savannah Olivia Harriott.
Good morning, board members, faculty, administration, staff, family, friends, and fellow graduates. Thank you for joining the class of 2025 on this amazing day. As we sit on this stage today, marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another, I can't help but think back when I first came to Kew-Forest in 2021. At this time, I thought my mom was exaggerating about how small the class sizes were. She kept stressing about how it would be different from my middle school. On my very first day, I remember walking to my first period Spanish class with Mr. Donovan, feeling nervous and uncertain. But looking back now, I realized that Kew-Forest was exactly the place I needed to be. It gave me the space and the push to grow in ways I never expected. It was a place that allowed me to build empathy, real connections, and step far outside my comfort zone. Before coming here, I was a student that kept to themselves. At my previous school, the large classes and fast-paced environment made it easy to stay invisible. I didn't feel like I could open up to my classmates or teachers, so I didn't. But here at Kew-Forest, everything was different. The smaller class sizes wasn't just a number. It was possible to actually know people, not just recognize faces. I found myself in an environment where it was normal to have out-of-class conversations with teachers like Miss Levitt, as I explained to her why In the Dream House, why Carmen Maria Macchiato was a 5-star read, and listened as she told me why she felt otherwise. Or even joking with Mr. Bush about how the earth is flat, making him annoyed and creating a very passionate science lecture just to prove me wrong. Beyond the classroom, it was the everyday moments that made this place feel different. Ms. Vessio remembering my birthday, asking Ms. Sanchez if practice was canceled, even though I knew it wasn't. And Ms. Kourides' support with my college essay and the deep conversations that reminded me that I wasn't alone in what I've been through. Thank you to Ms. L, Jose Garcia, Julio Vargas, Carlos Duran Mata, Prince Gaskin, and Fred Grant for making Kew-Forest feel like a home and showing me what it meant to be seen and supported. And it wasn't just the connections I built with my teachers. The friends I made here were just as real and meaningful, and often more chaotic in the best way possible. Anna or Jan accidentally hit me with a volleyball, Bowman randomly drawing on my paper, Zain or Hassan studying for a test, and working with Lagaya on the art for school or personal project in the science rotunda. These were just some ways we found to connect and support each other. While I can't name every connection I have made or friendship I have built over these 4 years, I would always remember the post-Mod UN talks, and lunch in the chem or physics room, and the time we spent outside of school. Even with all the laughter and support, there were still days where it was just hard. Waking up at 6 a.m., walking to the train, debating at a stop at Dunkin', powering through school, going to practice, and then heading home to watch my sister until my mom got back at 6 in the morning. That was my everyday. It was exhausting and at times overwhelming, but it also taught me how much I'm capable of. It made me realize that getting through hard days isn't just about some big inspirational moment. It's just about pushing through at one thing at a time and showing up. Because stepping out of my comfort zone made all the difference. Stepping out of my comfort zone opened the door to leadership roles such as co-president of Mod UN. Stepping out of my comfort zone helped me stay on track for 4 years, and being my personal record each year. Stepping out of my comfort zone inspired me to major in history. Stepping out of my comfort zone pushed me to my limits and helped me achieve more than I thought was possible. At times, it was scary, uncomfortable, but I wouldn't trade it for anything, because every risk, every challenge, every moment of growth made me into someone more expressive, confident, and ready for what's next. At a bigger school, I probably wouldn't have the chance to try so many things or find my voice in the same way. But here I did. To the class of 2025, don't overlook little moments, the chaotic, funny, or awkward, or even boring. They're what will make you laugh or even cry. As we move forward, I am proud of all of us. Thank you to every parent, teacher, and friend who made this place special. Congrats to the class of 2025. And as Kendall Kumar said, if I'm going to tell a story, real story, I'm going to start with my name. And now I can confidently say that Kew-Forest gave me the space to speak and shape it and stand in it with pride. Thank you.
Thank you, Savannah. I will now present the Kourides Trophy, which is awarded to the senior who has achieved the highest academic grade point average for the 4 years of secondary school. Beginning this year, the recipient of the Kourides Trophy will receive an $1,000 stipend made possible by an endowed gift from the Kew-Forest alumnus Nick Kourides in honor of his sister, the late Yon Kourides Zaroulis, class of '59, the first recipient of the Kourides Trophy. Today, her children Andrew Zaroulis and Christina Zaroulis Milner are here to present the award. Will Andrew and Christina please join me on stage to hand their certificate to the recipient? The class of 2025 recipient of the Kourides Trophy is Isabella Demiri. So coincidentally, I would now like to introduce our second student speaker, Isabella Demiri.
Good morning, board members, faculty, staff. Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys. It's okay. Okay. That's great. Got it. Yes. Good morning, board members, faculty, staff, administration, family, friends, and the class of 2025. I'm so happy I was given the opportunity to deliver a speech to you all today, and I'm even happier to share this moment with you all. Today, class of 2025, today marks the end of one chapter and the beginning of a new one. Today is the day that we have all been waiting for. I'm pretty sure that everyone in this building knew I had a countdown on my lock screen that showed how many days remained until graduation. I would tell my teachers or friends, only 28 days left until graduation and until we're out of here. It was my way of staying hopeful and looking forward to what's to come. But this morning, I woke up to my 6 a.m. alarm and noticed that something was different. I went to check my phone, but this time I saw that the countdown hit a 0. The day that had once felt so far away, the day that I've been waiting for all year, has finally come. As I was getting ready, trying to get my baby hairs to cooperate this morning, all of my memories of my time at KF were playing in my head. I remembered the lunch trips going to Tex-Mex, Dunkin', or Redwood, where I'd always get my signature order. I thought of making TikToks in the science rotunda and pranking my teachers and trying not to laugh too loud when seeing the reactions. The inside jokes I'll never forget, the late night FaceTime calls to work on assignments, and the random conversations in the library. It wasn't only the funny moments that stood out. I remembered all the things that I got to be a part of and to organize. Organizing this year's Dig Paint, one of my favorite events over the last 3 years, where the boys and the girls volleyball teams played to raise money for breast cancer research. I felt the same way about Kaleidoscope, a club that aims to connect the lower school and the upper school. I enjoyed the various buddy assemblies and activities with the 4th grade, I also appreciated being a part of the Executive Council for 2 years. It taught me leadership and patience while also helping me create memories for my classmates. None of this would have been possible without my teachers and the staff who were always there for me, supporting me, and making my time here enjoyable and meaningful. I'll always remember Mr. Bush smiling and waving when I'd pass by his room, helping Ms. Varsos with whatever tech help she needed. I'm going to miss hearing what button should I press more than I anticipated. I'll never forget about droplet spread, thanks to you, Mr. Alvarez. Having to tilt my head when reading Dr. Sipley's notes on the board. Miss Al saying good morning or see you later, darling, on my way out. Miss Sanchez always pushing me to my limits, even when I doubted myself. Miss Kourides for always being willing to help me with random requests, like keeping over 100 candygrams in her office. And Miss Vessio for always being a person I can come to if I ever need anything, and being someone I can always ask to find my keys. It's the little things like these that will stay with me the most. Last but not least, I would like to thank my family, who have been my biggest cheerleaders through it all. Thank you for believing in me even when I didn't believe in myself. Thank you for proofreading my assignments at 11:57 p.m. when they were due at 11:59. Your support has been everything. I wouldn't be standing up here without you. As I stand here today, almost done delivering this speech, I realize that this moment isn't just about reaching the end. It's about remembering the people and experiences that got us here. So here's to the past that shaped us, the present that's celebrating us, and the future that's waiting for us. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2025. We did it.
Thank you, Isabella. The presentation of the roses is a tradition at Kew-Forest where our graduates have a chance to give thanks to someone in the audience who has been instrumental in their education. This year's presentation will occur in 2 phases. First, we will now all enjoy a slideshow presentation wherein our soon-to-be graduates name their rose recipients and how these wonderful people have enriched their lives. Then, at the conclusion of ceremonies, the graduates will pick up their roses and present them to the recipients informally outside. Please enjoy the first phase of the presentation of the roses. I would now like to introduce our third and final student speaker, Jiayi Gu.
Good morning. My name is Jiayi Gu, or Gu Jiayi, in the order of my mother's language. I'm from Shanghai, China. I would like to dedicate this speech to the international student community, not just at Kew-Forest, but in the broader context of being an international student in the US. And before I begin, I want to shout out to Ms. Meng and Mr. Chen, without whom I won't be standing here today. Special thanks to Dr. Spellman, Mr. Fang, Ms. Eaton, and Mr. M for always supporting me. When I was little, I always had so many questions about the world. Some were simple. How do light bulbs work? How far away is the sun? But some were harder. Why do people die? Why are we alive at all if we are all eventually gonna die? As I got older, my question turned into confusions. Why don't good people always get long, happy lives? Why is communism evil or capitalism a crime? Why do many people leave their homes? When does war never seem to end? Why are we so lost, hurt, and confused? And why is there not always an answer when there is a question? Why are we living in strange times? The third decade after the millennium is the best of times, it's the worst of times. It's the age of wisdom, it's the age of foolishness. It's the epoch of belief, it's the epoch of incredulity. It's the season of light, it is the season of darkness. It is the spring of hope, it is the winter of despair. We have everything before us, we have nothing before us. We were all going direct to heaven. We were all going direct the other way. If Charles Dickens were living in our era, he might be wondering why the US government has been revoking F1 visas for reasons unknown, but perhaps related to activism in a country that prides itself on liberty. He might be wondering why the Trump administration announced plans to halt Harvard's ability to enroll international students. Why is education used as leverage? As of the 2023 to 2024 school year, over 1.1 million international students and more than 112,000 international scholars are here in the US. These are just not numbers. These are not just numbers. So let's not forget these represent real people with families, dreams, fears, and futures. And maybe that's what we all are, real people. But like plastic bags in the wind, drifting with the currents of the world. Maybe tomorrow aliens will show up and colonize the earth. Maybe human civilization will crash and burn someday. Maybe everything will return to nothingness, vanishing into the void. So maybe it's okay to live inside the questions, to sit with our confusion and even our fear. I hope we can all stay true to ourselves, think independently, and have the courage to speak up for ourselves and for others. Let's not get swept in the political storms. Instead, let's choose to love the real people beside us. Even if we speak different languages, think differently, vote differently, or pray differently. After all, we live in the same void. And maybe, especially today, we carry with us the people who aren't here, our friends and family, the ones who live in confusions just like us, the ones we love, the ones we've lost, and the ones too far away across the oceans. I wish they were here. Congratulations, class of 2025. We finally made it.
Thank you, Jiayi. On Saturday, May 31st, members of the Kew-Forest community gathered for the annual Hall of Fame induction ceremony. This year's inductee was the late Señor Nestor Porto, former Spanish teacher from 1962 to 1982. Señor Porto taught Spanish at Kew-Forest for 20 years, but his story begins with an extraordinary courage. A PhD chemist who fled Cuba with his sister Maria, leaving behind a life of privilege when Castro's regime imprisoned and executed their friends and family. Nestor Porto arrived in America grateful for freedom and determined to make the most of his second chance. He reinvented himself as a teacher, bringing the passion of someone who understood that education was liberation itself. Known as a perfectionist, who was also warm and approachable, Señor Porto pushed his students far beyond language. He taught them to never say, "I cannot." At Saturday's ceremony, 5 alumni came forward with the same remarkable story. Each claimed to be his worst Spanish student. I probably would have them beat. Yet each credited him with their present-day fluency. But more than Spanish, Señor Porto taught resilience, excellence, and the belief that every student could thrive. He embodied what made Kew-Forest teachers special. They don't just teach subjects, but transform lives. Señor Porto was a special type of teacher in this world, but a typical teacher at Kew-Forest. And we are proud to welcome him into our Faculty Hall of Fame. This past Friday, we held the Upper School Awards. We had an Upper School Awards assembly where members of the graduating class, along with other upper school students, received awards for their academic performance, their leadership, and their personal qualities. 4 awards are reserved for graduation, and so I will now present these final 4 graduation awards. The Founders Award is given in memory of Guy H. Catlin, co-founder of the Kew-Forest School, to the senior whose many contributions to Kew-Forest reflect a spirit of enthusiasm and a commitment to excellence. This year, the class of 2025 Founders Award goes to Savannah Olivia Harriott. The Marriott Award, in memory of Louis D. Marriott, co-founder of the Kew-Forest School, is given to that student who has shown the greatest personal growth and development during their career at Kew-Forest. The 2025 Marriott Award for showing the greatest personal growth and development goes to Young Gao. The Millar Cup is awarded to that student who, through his or her contributions, has had the greatest positive impact on the Kew-Forest school community. The 2025 Millar Cup for having the greatest positive impact on the school community goes to Star Messino. The Wilson M. Johnson Award, established by the Student Council of 1974 in memory of their beloved headmaster, is given to that member of the graduating class who best exemplifies the Kew-Forest qualities of character, service, and academic excellence. The 2025 Wilson M. Johnson Award for Character, Service, and Academic Excellence goes to Isabella Demiri. Congratulations to all of our award winners. And now I'd like to introduce our 2025 commencement speaker, Kathy Surace-Smith. Kathy Surace-Smith, class of 77, joined Kew-Forest in 1968. While at Kew-Forest, she served as the editor of The Forester and a board member of the Girls Athletic Association. She graduated from Princeton in 1981 and earned her law degree from Columbia Law School. Kathy has over 35 years of experience in high-growth companies across the United States and Europe, including more than 20 years in the life sciences industry. From 2013 to May 2024, she was Senior Vice President and General Counsel of NanoString Technologies, a provider of spatial biology solutions overseeing the company's legal, human resources, and regulatory functions. Previously, she served as Vice President and General Counsel of Sonosite Incorporated, an ultrasound technology company. Earlier in her career, she worked at the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development in London, Alcatel Telecom in Paris, and the law firm Gibson, Dunn and Crutcher. Kathy is a trustee and vice chair of Columbia University and the Fred Hutch Cancer Center, where she served as board chair from July of 2020 to June 2023. She is an advisory board member and former co-chair of the Behavioral Health Catalyst, which advocates for effective philanthropic and public investments and policies in Washington State's behavioral health system, and an advisory board member at the Hastings Center for Bioethics. Kathy was named 2023 Director of the Year and a 2018 Woman of Influence by the Puget Sound Business Journal. We are honored that she traveled from Seattle to be with us today. So please join me in welcoming Kathy Surace-Smith.
I want to take this out so I can look at the students and just say congratulations on this fantastic day. Let's give them a round of applause. I also want to acknowledge all the family, friends, faculty, administrators, and guests who supported and nurtured these students through their journey through school. You also deserve a round of applause. It does indeed take a village to get to this momentous day. I'm excited to be here, almost 50 years since I graduated. It's hard to say that, actually. It's hard to believe it. With me today are my brother, class of 75, Peter, my daughter, Julia, and her boyfriend, Dan. Thank you for being here. We just finished touring the school, and I'll say it looks terrific. It is very familiar. As Peter and I went through the school, we remembered where we learned Spanish from Señor Porto, where we learned history from Mr. Harriott. Some of these names will not ring a bell with many of you, and some of it you may remember. Where we learned English with Mr. Edson, where we were in 4th grade with Mrs. Sergi. We remember these people. They were critical parts of our lives growing up, and they had a huge influence on us. It's familiar, except for that big building in the parking lot. That was a bit of a shock, but it looks fantastic. I also want to just tell you a little story about the Jaguars. First of all, the Jaguars in the Rotunda and everywhere else are gorgeous. I don't know who the artist was, but they're just fabulous. And I was telling Joan that the class of 77, my class, deserves credit for choosing that mascot, the Jaguar. I clearly remember the boys, particularly in the class who played basketball, were very bummed that we had no mascot. We were founded in 1918, and there was no mascot until 1977, and they came up with the Jaguar, and we're still doing it, and I think that's fabulous, so thank you for that. Despite the fact the physical plant is still familiar, and I know that you have had an incredible academic experience here. You are a new generation of students. You are graduating into a very different world than the one that I graduated into in 1977. But I think we have a lot of things in common. I've spent some time learning about these 12 incredible students. I come to think of them in my mind as the dynamic dozen, and you can do what you want with that phrase. Maybe you've been using it, because they are incredible contributors to their community. They've used their unique talents to create a community here at Kew-Forest. They have led and participated in a wide variety of activities. You heard from 3 of the students about how their academics were so important for them. And like you, KF gave me a really strong academic foundation. It helped me build confidence to do many activities, even those I was not good at. And there were a lot of athletic teams I participated on that I was not good at. And the opportunity to be a leader. I loved my time here, and it seems apparent that you also loved your time here, which is so wonderful to hear. As I thought about what I wanted to say today, I was trying to think about what I could say beyond the usual exhortations of pursue your passions, do what you love, and go out and change the world. Because I pretty much think that's what they're gonna do. They know that, and they're already on that path. So I started thinking about what I've learned in the past 50 years that might be of some practical use to you at this point in your life. This led me to think about colleagues, friends, and the many people I've met over the years, and what differentiates successful people from less successful people. And I don't mean success in terms of money and status, not at all, or position, or however the common ways we think about success. I think about it in terms of being satisfied professionally and personally with your own life, inside of you. You feel like I had a great life and I feel really good about it. Because that's what people at my age often do, we look back. So what qualities or characteristics lead some people to have regrets when they reach my age, and others to feel positive and grateful about where they are at my stage in life? And it turns out that one of the defining characteristics of people who feel good about their lives is curiosity. Yes, curiosity. Now, Michelle touched on this, and I think Tiffany touched on this, but I want to explain more what I mean. Curiosity is defined in the dictionary as a strong desire to know or learn something. You are all familiar with this meaning, and Michelle did such a beautiful job at talking about how important this is. It may be what drew you to ask a question as a child about the way things work. Curiosity is what drove you to a particular academic subject so you could do a deeper dive in the classroom, or question something you read on the internet or on your phone. It is the desire to make sense of the world around you, learn facts and figures, and in some cases become an expert. Is the key to knowledge, and it's the type of curiosity that has led to breakthroughs over history. We're familiar with it, we know it. I think it's essential to success in any field that you choose. But I would encourage you to think of curiosity much more broadly, as a superpower that can propel you beyond facts and figures. Curiosity can create the basis for connecting you with other people and deepening your relationships. And strong relationships are the key to a fulfilling life. In study after study of people who have reached an advanced old age, these elders cite strong relationships as the things that got them through the ups and downs in life, the things that sustained them, and then led them to say, I have had a fulfilling and satisfied life. Curiosity begins with a mindset and openness to the unknown and the willingness to ask questions. It thrives when we acknowledge that we don't have all the answers and we're eager to learn more. This openness enables us to approach challenges, ideas, and people with a sense of wonder rather than judgment. Curious people take an interest in other people, and they ask questions, and they actively listen to the answers, and they respond to those answers. They go into every conversation trying to learn something rather than prove something. In an article published in a scientific journal about curiosity, the author cited the various advantages of curiosity other than the obvious. Curious people are perceived more positively, they experience rejection better, they are better at conflict resolution, and they enjoy socializing more. Research suggests that curious people are seen as more engaging and interesting in social situations. In one study, participants who showed curiosity during conversations were rated as more attractive and likable by their conversation partners. Now, who does not want to be more attractive and likable? You may be sitting there saying to yourself, oh my gosh, this is so obvious. Maybe. Doesn't everyone know this? And by the way, I'm already curious. You don't need to tell me to be curious. Well, first, I want to tell you that there are many people in this world who don't have this superpower and prefer to make statements rather than engage in reciprocal learning about each other. I've had the misfortune of sitting next to many of these people at very long dinners. I think all of you probably do have this superpower. You've shown it, you've demonstrated it. But I've seen many people lose their curiosity as they get older. They've seen a lot, learned a lot, and they think they know everything. So they stop being curious. I would urge you not to let this happen. Besides, you all have a built-in advantage. You are all New Yorkers, and in the rest of the country and in the world, New Yorkers get a pass for being extroverted. So go for it. Here's an example of how curiosity can lead to a lasting friendship or even more connections. A few years ago, I was standing in a ballroom in a long gown and a room full of people in black tie at some event, and a woman was standing next to me in an absolutely stunning dress, and I asked her about the dress. And we got to talking, and a half hour later, we were still talking, and it was one of those conversations where there was a lot of reciprocal learning going on. The next thing you know, we're meeting for brunch, and a few months after that, she is helping my son find a job in Washington, D.C. And then several years after that, she joins the company my husband works for. So you can see that there are lots of ways that relationships can develop because you chose to ask questions of someone standing next to you. The next time you're sitting across the table from a distant relative, or in a cafeteria across from your new roommate at college, or in a room full of people you've never met, put down your phone and start asking questions. You'll learn something new, you may deepen a relationship, start a friendship, make a professional connection, or meet the love of your life. I have a friend who met her husband standing online for a restroom at a concert. They started talking to each other. Now, this was the day before phones, so maybe it was a little better at connecting, but it happens. Don't be intimidated. I will tell you a little secret. People love to talk about themselves, and hopefully they will reciprocate and ask you questions about yourself. So that's it. My message today is simple. The road to a good life is paved with curiosity. I wish you much success and happiness. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. And now I ask that you all please rise and join us in singing the Kew-Forest Alma Mater, whose lyrics can be found in the program and on the screen to your right. Please be seated. And now comes the moment that our seniors have been waiting for, the awarding of the diplomas. At Kew-Forest, we do not give our diplomas out alphabetically. We give them out in a random order with the understanding that the last graduate to receive her or his diploma will leave KF with some extra good luck. Joining me for the distribution of the diplomas will be Board Chair Mr. Christopher D'Amato and the Head of School, Ms. Tiffany D. Trotter. Mr. D'Amato and Ms. Trotter, I now present to you the class of 2025. Jiayi Gu. John Bakaj. Norden Sherpa. Star Messino. Isabella Demiri. Mahalia T. Evans. Young Gao. Will the remaining 5 seniors please stand? Anisha Zaman Buyan. Savannah Olivia Harriott. Itzhak Burke. Jonathan C. Ibanez. Michelle Furman. Class of 2025, please stand. You may now switch your tassels from the right side to the left. I present to you the graduated class of 2025, so let's applaud again. Before I explain the process for exiting, I would like to thank all of the individuals who may not be on the stage with me but have worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make today's ceremony possible. At the risk of leaving anyone's name out, please join me in giving everyone involved a big round of applause. Audience members, please remain seated as I explain the procedure for exiting this space. The first people to exit the gym will be our faculty and staff, followed by the board members and Ms. Trotter. The next people to exit will be our graduates. They will process out, pick up a goodie bag in their rows. The faculty will be lined up in the play yard as they await to give a final congratulations to each graduate. Finally, I will dismiss the remaining audience members. In the back of the gym on the right-hand side, there is a red carpet for photo opportunities with our photographer. On the left-hand side, please help yourselves to food and beverage. We encourage everyone to mingle outside. I think the weather is permitting. Otherwise, please feel free to remain in the gym. Graduates of the class of 2025, please stand. You are standing. Whoops. All right, our flag bearers are gonna get us kicked off. Chris, you can start.
Congratulations, class of 2025. Today's the big day, one I'm sure you've been waiting for quite some time. You have poured your heart out at KF, whether in your classes, on the athletic fields, or in your extracurriculars. And we want you to know as you go out into the world that we are incredibly proud of you.
You made it! Congratulations! We wish you all the best for your next endeavors in this next chapter of your life. I hope it is exciting. I hope it is fulfilling. I hope you learn a lot and have a lot of fun. You will always be a part of the KF community, and we wish you all the best going forward.
Hola estudiantes, les quiero decir que esto no es el final, sino que el comienzo de algo muy maravilloso, increíble. Los felicito por lo que han logrado y lo que van a lograr. Chao.
Hi seniors, I am wishing you a ton of success, happiness, and of course, a lot of fun surprises.
Hey seniors, I'm so happy that you're about to head into a brand new and exciting journey in college. I've seen your hard work in the application season and I'm so proud of each one of you. I'm sending you my best wishes for academic and personal growth in the future.
Congratulations, class of 2025. You did it.
Hi seniors, congratulations on graduating. I wish you the best of luck in college and I hope that your experience is everything that you hoped for. I'm gonna miss you and I hope you come back to visit us really soon. Bye!
Congratulations, class of 2025. You did it. Have fun, study hard, and don't party too much. Best of luck.
Congratulations to the graduating class of 2025. Today marks a significant milestone in your journey, a testament to your hard work and sacrifices. As you reflect on your years at Kew-Forest, may you cherish the memories you've made and created and the positive impact you've had on your fellow students. A special thank you to the Kaleidoscope Club graduates. Your dedication to the lower school community has not gone unnoticed. Thank you for your commitment and involvement in activities and events like the Buddies Assembly, Home in Your Pocket Day, St. Patrick's Day, and now the Garden Project. Your legacy will continue to thrive within the club. To my former fourth graders, Star and Jonathan, I am immensely proud to have been your teacher. Congratulations on all your achievements. Wishing everyone the very best as you embark on your next adventure. Congratulations.
Congrats, seniors. Good luck.
Hi, I'm Miss Allen's sister, Siobhan.
Hi, I'm Miss Allen's brother, Trevor.
Hi, I'm Miss Allen's niece, Mariah.
Hi, I'm Miss Allen's sister, Ariana.
And we're congratulating the class of 2025.
Hi, seniors. It was so great getting to know all of you, and it was wonderful seeing your talents growing, and I wish you the best of luck in college and beyond. Believe in yourself and have a joyful life.
Have a good time at college and listen. Congratulations! Congratulations! And don't party too hard and wait some more. Always listen to your mom and dad. Study hard. Congratulations, seniors. Study hard. Congratulations, seniors. Don't forget about Kew-Forest.